What's up, man? How's it going?
What's up, y'all? Good. How are you?
Trevor, I guess, your reaction to Jeff Scott leaving and does it change you guys at all, or what's kind of the feeling around the team? I'm sure happy for him, but what's kind of the feeling around the offense?
We still feel good. I mean, we're happy that we're going to be able to finish out the year with Coach Scott. Obviously, he's a great coach, but also a great man, so I'm excited for the opportunity he's going to get, but we feel really good. We've had some good practices, and he'll be back here in a couple days. So, I mean, we're going to be ready either way, and we'll finish out the season.
How have you changed from this time last year to entering the playoffs now, both on and off the field? How's the experience of a year as a national championship winning quarterback impacted you?
I think just, like you said, having that experience of playing a year, and then also just knowing what to expect going to this stage and these moments ahead. So just kind of being there before and knowing what to expect, and I feel like that gives me an advantage just because I've been there before.
Were you nervous last year?
Yeah, a little bit, especially before the national championship. A little bit before the Notre Dame game, but before the national championship, I was really nervous. But I mean, I feel good going into this year. Like I said, have some experience.
Do you bring nerves at all? Are you nervous at all this year, or are you like Thomas Cucumber?
Yeah, I mean, I think before every game, I get butterflies and get a little bit nerved up, like any other game. But right now, I feel good and just trying to get as much work in as we can before we leave.
What's your impression of the Ohio State defense?
They're really good. I mean, obviously statistically, they're one of the best in the country, and just from how they execute, they keep everything in front of them, and they have really good corners, a good D-line, obviously, and their backers are solid too. So, just the whole defense is really good, well coached, and they don't do a ton of different stuff, but they're really good at what they do, and they just line up, and if you can beat them, you can beat them, but if not, they got a really good plan and a really good defense.
How do you like your lines match up with Chase Young?
I mean, I think we have one of the best, if not the best, O-line in the country, so I really like our matchup against him. Obviously, he's a great player, and for anyone to go up against him is definitely a challenge, but, I like us over anyone else.
What was your relationship with Justin like in high school? I know you guys had the same QB trainer, worked out a bunch together. I don't know if you texted every day or whatever, but...
Yeah, I mean, we would talk every now and then. I would mostly see him at a bunch of camps, and we'd worked out a few times together, so we definitely had a good relationship. We weren't super, super close, but he was only probably 30 minutes down the road. So we, like I said, worked out a few times and saw him at pretty much every camp in the summer.
With what you're involved with here, do you have any time to pay attention to what he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, the year he's had it's been awesome to see. And obviously him being from Georgia and us being in the same class, and kind of his journey to get there has been, really cool to see him do all those things. And I get to watch them. They play at noon a lot, so we'll be in the hotel, we'll flip the game on, we'll kind of bounce around, but I've got to watch them a good bit.
You guys entered very similar situations in that you were both obviously 1-2 in recruiting, and entered places that had been in the playoff with incumbent starters, and ended up kind of going in the opposite directions in year one. Have you ever thought roles have been reversed, or how things might have played out for you if you'd been the guy who had to wait a year on the bench, or vice versa?
Yeah, just mostly I've had some of those thoughts, and just really proud to be here and really happy that I made this decision. Obviously, not just because of that, but just because of the people here, and my experience here has been so good, and just thankful to be in a place like Clemson.
What about his journey, he says, has impressed you? What has stood out from watching?
Yeah, I think just everything not going perfect for him, and having to kind of bounce back and go to a different school and really making something happen there instead of just falling behind and thinking of what could have happened, and he really just looked for what was ahead of him, and I mean, he's had a great year, obviously.
Knowing the way you did, you probably watching now, you expected this to come in.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and I knew that ever since high school, and just seeing how he's kind of worked and competed, and I feel like he's earned everything he's gotten, and it's been cool to watch.
You spoke of experience, Trevor. What do you know about this process, about the whole playoff and all the kind of chaos that goes with it that maybe you didn't know when you were a freshman?
There's just a lot going on, whether it's media out there or going to do some event with the bowl or whatever it may be. There's a lot going on, and just kind of knowing how to channel that. And I learned that last year and had a bunch of good leaders and seniors to show me that. And I feel good about going into it this year, knowing what the schedule's going to be like, and knowing that I've been in a bowl game before, and knowing how it's all going to work.
How did you react to the "what's wrong with Trevor" talk in the first couple games of the season?
Just kept going to work every day. Didn't really think about it too much, and I knew what I was doing was going to pay off. And eventually, obviously had some bad plays, but I knew I was doing things the right way and really just kept working, and I feel like I ironed out a lot of those early mistakes.
Do you feel you're playing at a higher level now than you were at this stage, certainly a year ago?
Definitely, yeah. I think in all facets I'm playing at a lot higher level, just decision making, extended plays, just knowing the whole offense, all those things.
It's funny because Justin kind of endured a lot of the critiques and questions and criticisms last year that you kind of had to endure at the beginning of this year. When I talked to him about it, he's like, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I needed to learn from those experiences. Do you sort of feel the same way about how your journey has played out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you can learn. There's something to learn in every situation, and sometimes it's easier to learn in the bad situations than the good ones. So I definitely see what he's saying. And for me, I mean, if that's the biggest adversity I face is getting some criticism and still winning games, then I'm pretty lucky. So that's how I looked at it, and really just want to do everything I can to help us win. And if I'm doing that, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Is there anything about the Ohio State secondary that can be tricky for you, or something that can catch you off guard?
I'm sure they've had, I guess, 3 weeks they're gonna have 3 weeks to plan for us. I'm sure they'll have something that we haven't seen, but like I said, for the most part, they keep everything pretty simple, but they do what they do really well, and they have really good players, and good corners, a good safety that comes down the box, plays a tight end some. So they do a lot of good things, and then obviously their D-line is really good, so it doesn't give you much time to look downfield.
Do you think you'll be able to take your shots now?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the playmakers we have, the O-line, everything, we're always going to have a chance to take shots downfield, and that'll be a part of the game plan like it is every week. But it'll just be about protecting and winning the matchups and me putting the ball where it's supposed to go.
Trevor, what's your relationship like with Justin Fields going back to high school?
Like I was just saying, we were about 30 minutes apart where we lived, and I saw him at a lot of camps and didn't know him really too well until probably junior year. And then we worked out a few times. We had the same QB coach, and we weren't super close, but we texted every now and then, and I'd tell him good luck in whatever he was doing or anything like that.
I wonder how that fan base in, I don't know, Cherokee County or whatever, that there's not that much space between Cartersville and Marietta. How you guys are drawn from that area.
Yeah.
There's conflict.
Yeah. There's a lot of Georgia fans over there. I know that, 'cause living there, but yeah.
You've made a few Clemson fans.
Yeah, a couple.
Did you talk to him at all over the summer, like when he had transferred, and kind of did he ever pick your brain about kind of what the experience of actually being out there playing was?
Yeah, we did talk in the summer. I can't really remember what we talked about, to be honest, but we just kind of caught up, and I really can't remember. I think it was just mostly small talk and just catching up. But yeah.
What's Coach Gill meant? Do you see similarities in him and yourself because of having worked with the same QB coach?
Me and Justin?
Yeah.
Yeah, just some footwork stuff, and I think one thing I really like about him is he's really good poise, especially in the pocket, and just a smooth player. You watch him and he's super athletic, but never really looks like he's running hard, and he's just a great player.
Is there something in the water in Georgia? I mean, look at Deshaun and you and Fields now. I mean,
I don't know what it is. Georgia's definitely got some good players, and I mean, being from there, we've known that, and there's so many good teams in Georgia.
What y'all doing for Christmas?
Well, on actual Christmas, I don't know what we're doing. We'll probably have like a little Christmas breakfast thing like we did last year. We did that in Dallas, but I'm gonna go home here, I guess Wednesday for a couple days, then we'll leave on Sunday. But yeah, I'll have an early Christmas, and then my second family out in Arizona will have another Christmas.
Funniest Secret Santa gift that you saw in the past?
Well, we do like a little Secret Santa thing with our team every year, and I got shampoo and conditioner last year from one of the players, and I gave Will Sweeney a Christmas onesie, so we do some good stuff.
What makes y'all so good on this stage? Does it seem like you get overwhelmed at all? This recent history, you specifically, why are y'all so comfortable when the lights are so bright?
I think just the way our program's built, kind of how Coach Sweeney is, and we're built to play our best football at the end of the season, and that's our main goal, is getting better every week. And when we focus on being our best instead of being the best, it usually takes care of itself, and that's kind of our philosophy. Instead of a lot of teams look at who they're playing, when they're going to play, all these things, and we just focus on ourselves and being the best that we can be.
What have you seen from T. Higgins the last couple of weeks, the last month? It seems like he's taken his game to another level and helped get this offense.
It's just, y'all see the same thing I do. Just how he works in practice, I think is the biggest thing. And every day comes to work, and he's a really smart player too. A lot of people don't see the little things, but just his releases, his knowledge of what's going on, the play, whether it's a run play or pass play. He just really knows what's going on, and he's a really smart player, but also a huge playmaker too.
I'm sure you've already been asked a couple of times, but your relationship with Justin, how you know him, and the excitement to face him in a college football playoff semifinal with the state's best tonight.
Yeah, it's cool. Just like I said, his journey, going from Kennesaw right near me to Georgia to Ohio State, and then us both playing in the semifinal out in Arizona is pretty cool, and it's going to be special.
Who gave you the shampoo and conditioning?
His name is Marquise Cease. So, yeah, he's one of our offensive linemen.
Your brand, or did he just go out off the...
He got me Pantene, which I'm not really using that anymore, but that was last year, so.
What's the new one?
Moroccan oil or something like that. Yeah. Giving free advertising right now. But.
Wait till those name, image, likeness rights come through, and then you've been very open about sort of the, I guess, trials and tribulations that come with the stardom that you have inherited. Who has been the biggest key in helping you kind of maneuver all of that and put it all into perspective?
I don't think it's necessarily one person. I think it's just a lot of people. Family, coaches from high school, coaches now, everyone here, my teammates. Chase, Bryce has been a really good friend to me, and it's been really good to have a guy like him, and obviously in the QB room, but also we room together for games and stuff. So just having those people, and then obviously my relationship with God is really what has kept me grounded through all the good times and some of the trials. So
it felt like, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but over the summer you were still kind of trying to figure out what it all meant, how to handle this, how to use that platform best. Do you feel like the experiences that you've had this year have given you a better understanding of all that and a better focus?
For sure. I think this year has been really good for me to put things into perspective and show me what's important, and then also just, I don't think you ever have it exactly right how to use your platform, but you're always learning how to use it better and better, and I think I've done that for sure.
Trevor, I apologize if you've been asked this before, but you guys the offense is going to get Braden back for this game. What is that going to add to the offense? What kind of a player have you seen of him at practice this year as he's kind of stand out?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff with the scout team and been really selfless doing that because he hasn't been able to play. So haven't seen him that much this year, but obviously last year, and he's been back the past week, and he's a great player. He's going to bring another dynamic to our offense. Just his athleticism and his size, he can block too, so he can just do it all. And obviously we have good tight ends anyways, but he'll bring another dynamic to us being able to throw the ball downfield, I think.
Have you noticed maybe an extra bit of bounce, excitement in his step because he is back and able to play?
For sure. I mean, I've thought about him a lot, just what he's had to go through. It's definitely been tough for him, and situation that would be tough for anyone. So seeing how he's handled it, and it's cool having him back, and he's a little bit more excited to be practicing because he gets to contribute and help out.
During the season, did you just kind of keep his spirits up when you could and tell him to hang in there?
Yeah, we talk all the time, obviously, but whenever I'd see him, especially the past month or so, I'd be telling him, hey, we only got a couple more games in your back, just keep reminding him that he's almost back to where he can play.
What are your thoughts from this past weekend, seeing the award shows and the Heisman and all that stuff, and your guys, maybe even you specifically, not being acknowledged to the degree that the two Ohio State guys up there in New York and the Oklahoma guy that you guys, just watching that and feeling like maybe you're not getting the credit that y'all deserve in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to ever discredit anything that anyone else has done. I think everyone up there was a great player and deserved it, but I think it's just how the story's been written, and it kind of works perfect for us. I mean, we're happy where we're at. It would have been great to have some guys there, obviously, just for for them and for our program, but we're happy where we're at, and we're just glad to get a chance to prove ourselves.
How would you describe how that story's been written?
Yeah, just all year kind of been taking the back seat, I think, a little bit, which is it's whatever. I mean, I think that's just how the season's gone, but I don't think we've it's been worked out perfect though. We've been in the back seat, under the radar, and this is the time now we get to actually prove ourselves.
Could you have ever thought when you walked off that field against Alabama last year that's?
Let's say
No, we're on the same team as
oh, yeah,
Why do you think that story was written that way?
Yeah.
How can a 15-0 team that's now won 4, 5, 8 straight be in the back seat?
I think it's just, every year people want something new. And, last year we were the new team. Alabama won the year before, and we were kind of up and coming. And, we knocked Alabama off, and everyone loved us. And after that, it's like, okay, who's going to win next year? And they want something new, and I think that's just how it is. And then, we have a close game, and everyone thinks that, we're not any good, and that's just the way it was all year, and which is fine. We got the opportunity we wanted, so right where we want to be. But I think that those are two of the things that happened.
It was obvious that Coach Sweeney was pretty quiet about that narrative until after South Carolina.
Yeah.
Then he exploded, right? In what ways does he use that narrative in private with you guys?
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, just kind of the things that are, how people kind of contradict themselves. They'll say one thing one week, and then a month later they'll change their mind and say something else, and it's just, it's just funny how that happens all the time. And we talk about it all the time, and we use that as fuel. And he's really good about, he kept it quiet, and then but at some point, this is his team. He wants to defend us, so I respect what he did.
Yep. Does that kind of help you keep things in perspective too? Like when you're getting critiqued for one bad game, that it's like people are going to say stuff regardless.
Yeah, people just don't know. And with football, every week's different, every game's different. You just, nothing's set, and that's what I think people say things that are, that are going to happen, that should happen, and then something else happens, and they try to go back and change what they said. And it's just football. Any given day, anyone can beat anybody. So I think it's just keeping that in mind, and then obviously, like you said, just realizing that there are a lot of people that do know what they're talking about, but there's way more that don't know what they're talking about. So kind of understanding that.
Did you watch the Heisman show?
I did. I watched not everything leading up to it, but the end when they announced it. I watched that.
Did you project yourself at all there and onto that stage?
Not really.
Not
really. I just kind of watched and enjoyed, and I always like to see what people say when they get up there. And congrats to Joe. Obviously, he's had an unbelievable year. What he's done has been crazy. Being able to watch that has been cool. Obviously, he's a great player and deserves it.
Do you know Joe or Jalen very well?
I don't know Joe super well. I met him out at the Manning camp. We talked a little bit, but I know Jalen a little bit better. I've talked to him a few times out in California at something this summer, and then one other time. But and he was friends with my tight end in high school goes to Alabama, so they were friends when he was there. But I know him. I know Jalen a little bit better.
So, I don't. I'm sure somebody would argue this, but I would say the 4 best quarterbacks in college football are probably in the playoff. Do you think it's is it a cool thing to have that level of quarterback play all kind of vying for a national championship now?
Yeah, I think now it's just all these teams have great quarterbacks, great players, but just shows how important it is to have a quarterback that can manage the game, run the system, and do it well. And all those guys do that. So it's definitely going to be 2 fun games here at the end of December.
Do you have any good Justin Fields stories? Well, I don't know if you can ask this. Do you have a relationship with Justin Fields?
I thought you were serious. I was like,
no.
Again.
Is there anything that stands out from you to him, like any moments that you guys had together?
I think just because I remember seeing him at some camps when we were younger, and I remembered his face, didn't really know him well at all. And then out of nowhere, he just, shot up, gained a bunch of weight, was just this great player that I never saw him play or anything. So then his junior year, he kind of blew up, and it's been cool, like I said before, to see him work, and I feel like he's really earned everything that he's gotten.
When you worked out, did you guys ever talk about recruiting ranks? No, I'm not.
No, we never talked about that.
T was saying earlier that he's seen his catch on the sidelines at the ACC title game dozens of times now since. Has he made a better catch than that you've seen? Maybe something in practice, maybe.
He does stuff like that a lot, to be honest. Some of that stuff it looks crazy, but I've seen him do a handful of times. But that's the best catch I've seen him make in a game.
Yeah.
But I don't know actually. That one against Texas A&M over the middle, kind of reached back. That's close. But those 2 are probably the best I've seen him do in a game.
He made a catch in Louisville that they reviewed and they still called it out.
Oh yeah, that was a touchdown too. But no, like I said, he does stuff like that all the time. You kind of as a quarterback, get used to it. But then you think about it's crazy that he can do that.
And you just throw it 6 feet out of bounds and reach it with his toes?
I try to throw it a little bit out of bounds just so the defender couldn't have a chance, but not quite that much.
Trevor, what kind of teammate is T. Higgins? What's he like when he's off the field or in the locker room, the film room?
He's a great teammate. I've never heard him, ever complain about, and even before last year, early this year, whatever it may be, when he wasn't getting a lot of catches at some point. I mean, I'm sure there's been points where he hasn't got a ton of catches, and I've never heard him complain. And just always been selfless, and you see that when he plays. I mean, his downfield blocking, Travis will have the ball, and he'll be blocking 30 yards downfield for like 5 seconds until Travis catches up. So just little things like that shows the kind of player he is and how he feels about the team.
Yeah,